Robinson Crusoe, Chapter 15. He makes a smaller canoe in which he attempts to cruise round the island. His perilous situation at sea. He returns home. I cannot say that after this, for 5 years, any extraordinary thing happened to me. But I lived on in the same course, in the same posture and place, just as before. The chief things I was employed in, besides my yearly labor of planting my barley and rice and curing my raisins, of both of which I always kept up just enough to have sufficient stock of 1 year's provisions beforehand, and my daily labor of going out with my gun, I had one labor, to make me a canoe, which at last I finished, so that by digging a canal to it of 6 feet wide and 4 feet deep, I brought it into the creek, almost half a mile. As for the first, which was so vastly big, I made it without considering beforehand, as I ought to do, how to be able to launch it. So, never being able to bring it to the water, or bring the water to it, I was obliged to let it lie where it was, as a memorandum to teach me to be wiser next time. Indeed, the next time, though I could not get a tree proper for it, and in a place where I could not get the water to it in any less distance than, as I have said, near half a mile, yet as I saw it was practicable at last, I never gave it over. And though I was nearly 2 years about it, yet I never grudged my labor, in hopes of having a boat to go off to sea at last. However, though my little periagua was finished, yet the size of it was not at all answerable to the design which I had in view when I made the first. I mean of venturing over to the terra firma, where it was about 40 miles broad. Accordingly, the smallness of my boat assisted to put an end to that design, and now I thought no more of it. But as I had a boat, my next design was to make a tour round the island, for as I have been on the other side in one place, crossing as I have already described over the land, so the discoveries I made in that little journey made me very eager to see other parts of the coast, and now I had a boat, I thought of nothing but sailing round the island. For this purpose, that I might do everything with discretion and consideration, I fitted up a little mast to my boat, and made a sail to it out of some of the pieces of the ship's sail, which lay in store, and of which I had a great stock by me. Having fitted my mast and sail and tried the boat, I found she would sail very well. Then I made little lockers or boxes at either end of my boat, to put provisions, necessaries, and ammunition, etc., into to be kept dry, either from rain or spray of the sea, and a little long hollow place I cut in the inside of the boat where I could lay my gun, making a flap to hang down over it and keep it dry. I fixed my umbrella also in a step at the stern, like a mast to stay over my head, and keep the heat of the sun off of me, like an awning. And thus I every now and then took a little voyage upon the sea, but never went far out, nor far from the little creek. But at last, being eager to view the circumference of my little kingdom, I resolved upon my tour, and accordingly I victualled my ship for the voyage, putting in 2 dozen of my loaves, cakes I should rather call them, of barley bread, an earthen pot full of parched rice, of food I ate a great deal of, a little bottle of rum, half a goat, and powder and shot for killing more, and 2 large watch coats, of those which, as I mentioned before, I had saved out of the seamen's chests. These I took, one to lie upon, and the other to cover me in the night. It was the 6th of November, in the 6th year of my reign, or my captivity, which you please, that I set out on this voyage, and I found it much longer than I expected. For, though the island itself was not very large, yet when I came to the east side of it, I found a great ledge of rocks lie out about 2 leagues into the sea, some above water, some under it, and beyond that a shoal of sand lying dry half a league more, so that I was obliged to go a great way out to sea to double the point. When I first discovered this, I was going to give over my enterprise and come back again, not knowing how far it might oblige me to go out to sea, and above all, doubting how I should get back again. So I came to an anchor, for I had made me a kind of anchor with a piece of broken grappling which I had got out of the ship. Having secured my boat, I took my gun and went on shore, climbing up upon a hill which seemed to overlook that point, where I saw the full extent of it, and resolved to venture. In my viewing the sea from that hill where I stood, I perceived a strong, and indeed a most furious current, which ran to the east, and even came close to the point. And I took the more notice of it, because I saw there might be some danger that when I came into it, I might be carried out to sea by the strength of it, and not be able to make the island again. And indeed, had I not gotten first up upon that hill, I believe it would have been so, for there was the same current on the other side of the island, only that it set off at a farther distance, and I saw there was a strong eddy under the shore. So I had nothing to do but to get it out of the first current, and should presently be in an eddy. I lay there, however, 2 days, because the wind blowing pretty fresh at the east-southeast, and that being just contrary to the said current, made a great breach of the sea upon the point, so that it was not safe for me to keep too close to the shore for the breach, nor to go too far off because of the stream. The third day, in the morning, the wind having abated overnight, the sea was calm, and I ventured. But I am a warning piece again to all rash and ignorant pilots. For no sooner was I come to the point, when even I was not my boat links from the shore, but I found myself in a great depth of water, and a current like the sluice of a mill. It carried my boat along with it with such violence that all I could do could not keep her so much as on the edge of it. But I found it hurried me farther and farther from the eddy, which was on my left hand. There was no wind stirring to help me, and all I could do with my paddles signified nothing. And now I began to give myself over for lost, for as the current was on both sides of the island, I knew in a few leagues' distance they must join again, and then I was irrevocably gone. Nor do I see any possibility of avoiding it, so that I had no prospect before me but of perishing, not by the sea, for that was calm enough, but of starving for hunger. I had indeed found a tortoise on the shore, as big almost as I could lift, and had tossed it into the boat, and I had a great jar of fresh water, that is to say, one of my earthen pots. But what was all this to being driven into the vast ocean, where, to be sure, there was no shore, no mainland, no island, for 1,000 leagues at least? And now I saw how easy it was for the providence of God to make the most miserable condition mankind could be in worse. Now I look back upon my desolate, solitary island as the most pleasant place in the world, and all the happiness my heart could wish for was to be but there again. I stretched out my hands to it with eager wishes. "O happy desert," said I shall never see thee more. "O miserable creature," said I, "whither am I going?" Then I reproached myself with my unthankful temper, and how I had repined at my solitary condition, and now what would I give to be on that shore there again? Thus we never see the true state of our condition till it is illustrated to us by its contraries, nor know how to value what we enjoy but by the want of it. It is scarce possible to imagine the consternation I was now in, being driven from my beloved island, for so it appeared to me now to be, into the wide ocean, almost 2 leagues, and in the utmost despair of ever recovering it again. However, I worked hard, till indeed my strength was almost exhausted, and kept my boat as much to the northward, that is, towards the side of the current which the eddy lay on, as possibly I could. And when about noon, as the sun passed the meridian, I thought I felt a little breeze of wind on my face, springing up from the south-southeast. This cheered my heart a little, and especially when, in about half an hour more, it blew a pretty small gentle gale. By this time I was gotten at a frightful distance from the island, and had the least cloud or hazy weather intervened, I had been undone another way too, for I had no compass on board, and should never have known how to have steered toward the island if I had but once lost sight of it. But the weather continuing clear, I applied myself to get up my mast again and spread my sail, standing away to the north as much as possible to get out of the current. Just as I had set my mast and sail, the boat began to stretch away. I saw even by the clearness of the water some alteration of the current was near, for where the current was so strong, the water was foul. But perceiving the water clear, I found the current abate, and presently I found to the east, at about half a mile, a breach of the sea upon some rocks. These rocks I found caused the current to part again, and as the main stress of it ran away more southerly, leaving the rocks to the northeast, so the other returned by the repulse of the rocks and made a strong eddy, which ran back again to the northwest with a very sharp stream. They who know what it is to have reprieve brought to them upon the ladder, or to be rescued from thieves just going to murder them, or who have been in such extremities, may guess what my present surprise of joy was, and how gladly I put my boat into the stream of this eddy. And the wind also freshening, how gladly I spread my sail to it, running cheerfully before the wind with a strong tide or eddy underfoot. And we're going to pause here, and we'll continue this chapter in the next video. Please like, subscribe, leave a comment below. Thanks so much for watching. I love you guys. As Tigger says, ta-ta for now.